Hi, everybody. Lisa from Lisa's Literal Life. It's the 22nd of January, 2026. Happy New Year. And I have really been having a difficult time, which is nothing unusual for me. Lots of fibro flare ups and arthritis, temperatures going back and forth and up and down, unseasonably warm to, very frigid, and the barometric pressure and everything. So I haven't been feeling my best, and I just don't get much done, and I forget what I'm supposed to be getting done. I need to start making more lists, I guess. But even then, it's hard to get through them. I've been a little bit down about what's happening in the United States. Not to upset anybody here that may be following me that has different political beliefs, but I am not a fan of Donald Trump. I have always voted very much for individuals. It didn't matter if they were Republican or Democrat. I did end up, mainly I got mad because they changed a law about primaries in my state. And so I ended up registering as a Democrat because the Republicans were the ones that pushed for that law. So I kind of did that out of spite for primary votes. I do know a lot about Donald Trump from way back in the 80s. I first learned about him and read a lot about him and his father and their business dealings and Donald's social activities back in the 80s when I was taking a class, ironically enough, on political communications. And I was writing a paper on the Iran-Contra situation. But in those days, we used newspapers and magazines for a lot of sources. And so in the business magazines and business pages and political and editorial information that I was looking at, Donald Trump was all over the place in different publications. I think at the time there was also a Rolling Stone article about him that I read, but I could be wrong. So I kind of went down a rabbit hole about who this Donald Trump was. Um, so I didn't care for him or his father much. They pulled a lot of things that were racist or fraudulent or slumlordy in their real estate practices and construction and things in the 80s, late 70s and 80s that I thought were appalling. And also, he was very much a playboy type a lot of that time when he was single, which he just seemed a little bit, I love the word smarmy. Smarmy, like greasy and slimy and of poor character kind of a thing. So I just have never liked him. I never really watched The Apprentice. I watched a few episodes. Omarosa was pretty entertaining. I think I watched when she got kicked off. Excuse me. And I did like The Celebrity Apprentice sometimes, depending on who the celebrities were. I did love that they gave money to charities. And so, I watched a little more of that. That said, Donald Trump was a Democrat. He was a Democrat for decades. He could not get primaried as a Democrat. He tried to run for election before 2016 the first one? Yes. And couldn't get nominated. So he then switched to Republican. Part of that might have been because he disliked Obama. I'm not really sure. I did vote for Obama. I had voted for Reagan and Bush Sr. then Clinton, Gore. Of course, we had Bush Jr. Instead. He was not my favorite president because he was not super intelligent, I guess. He was just a good old boy, Bubba kind of guy. I liked his wife. I think that he probably shouldn't have had that office, or maybe he had some people around him that really weren't the best as far as being corrupt or whatnot. But, you know, 9/11 happened, and that really overshadowed things in his presidency. And I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole of what caused that or anything, but of course it affected everybody. It affected the world, really. So Donald Trump, he ran for office. I think he was shocked when he was elected in 2016. And then 2020, he of course said that the election was rigged, which pretty much every court that they tried to get election results overturned, and I guess all the courts where they tried to get the election results overturned or done said that, it was legal. And even many of Trump's cabinet said there was nothing wrong with it. And of course, we went through January 6th, and I didn't agree with what happened that day. But I did vote for Biden. I did vote for Harris, mainly because I felt like they are, as individuals, have more of a central viewpoint, are more willing to work across the lines for citizens than Donald Trump. And after this last year, I see that Donald Trump is really out for himself and is really harming our democracy. Because, and especially with ICE and using the National Guard and military against citizens, the things that they're doing are unconstitutional. It breaks my heart that my father and my uncle didn't die then, but fought in World War II against the Germans, and nowadays our rights are being infringed very much like rights of citizens were in the 30s and 40s up till the end of World War II by the Germans, by the Nazis. This is why people refer to the Trump and some of his cabinet as Nazis or being fascist, because it is mirroring the activity and orders that happened in Nazi fascist Germany under Hitler's reign. So this is why people use those terms. They're not unfounded. They're not unprecedented in history. They are pretty much unprecedented as a government stronghold in the United States. So that's why it worries me. I worry about people. I worry about our immigrants. I worry about our naturalized citizens. I worry for our illegal immigrants. I worry for people that aren't lily white, and actually some of us that are. I don't know what they have planned. I don't know who they might hurt next. I've seen what they've done in a lot of cities in the United States. I've watched many videos from different angles and viewpoints taken by sources in these protests and people that have been detained or beaten or killed. I disagree with any type of harm or murder of someone who is being detained. I believe in due process. I believe in our rights as citizens. I believe in our rights as humans. And what the Constitution protects is any person, doesn't matter if they're born here, if they're citizens or not, any person in the United States has the right to due process under the law. There needs to be signed judicial warrants, and ICE needs to go after people that they have warrants for, not stopping people on the street, not going to schools, not pulling people out of their cars, not going to private property businesses, whether they're national chains or mom and pop businesses. They should not be doing that unless they have a warrant for a specific person. Also, they've been going door to door in places. That is insane. That is such fascist German ways. They did that, the Gestapo, and people were dragged from their homes. If they spoke against them or didn't want to let them in, they would break in, and those people disappeared sometimes. Sometimes they were shot and killed. Sometimes they were sent to concentration camps or death camps. Our democracy is a fragile thing. Our Constitution is supposed to help protect it. We are a democratic republic. We are a capitalist nation as far as our economics, but we are a democratic republic. That means that citizens have certain rights under the Constitution, and the government should never go against those rights. It is unlawful. I don't know where Congress is. They are supposed to be safeguarding our rights and monitoring and balancing out what Donald Trump and his cabinet and Homeland Security and Immigration and the DOJ are doing. And I don't know why they're not standing up. I don't understand racism. I don't understand people hating people for their religion. I have gone to churches and synagogues of many religions. I've not been to a mosque. I've not been to the Indian temples. But I have been welcomed and able to observe and be, in some cases, part of different services. And I love learning about other people's religions, their cultures. And I love human beings. It doesn't matter about our color or where we're from, because we're all the same species. Except for the melanin in our skin, I mean, we're almost exactly alike. We do have differences, of course, but as far as our physical makeup and even in our religions, they pretty much stress the same things. And I don't understand everybody's hatefulness these days. So I don't understand ICE targeting people. So I think we need to get back to due process. I think we need to get back to looking out for one another and loving our neighbors and talking to one another and listening to one another. And hopefully things will get better. Stay safe. Stay well. A lot of really bad viruses and yucky stuff going on out there, very bad. And, come back. And I don't know if I'll talk about politics again or what the next thing will be. Maybe it'll be a book review. And I'm just glad that you stopped by and maybe stayed to listen to me. So please subscribe. I would appreciate that. Share with friends if you'd like. I'd love to get some more subscribers. Please comment. Try to be kind. Be kind to others in the comment section. If you don't agree, that's okay. You can tell us what you believe and why without calling people names or putting them down or whatever. So take care. Thank you for coming by. Love ya, Lisa.